Hi, I'm Danny McKinley, and I am at Zia Comics in Las Cruces, New Mexico. And today, I'm going to teach you, if you don't already know, how to play Settlers of Catan. Settlers of Catan is a 2 to 4 player game where you are getting resources, trying to be the first to 10 points by building cities, settlements, armies, and roads. How do you do that? Let me show you. So in Settlers of Catan, players are trying to be the first to 10 victory points by building settlements, cities, and roads and armies for bonus points. There's a lot of ways to get points in this, but the main way you'll be doing it is by building these settlements. So how do you play? Each turn consists of 3 parts. The first is roll the dice, second is collecting resource, and then finally, the last one will be building either road, settlement, city, or buying development cards. So when players roll their dice, they will roll the 2 dice, and I'm going to give an example of the 7 later, but let's say it was a 6 for now. We'll look around the board, and any tile that has the number 6, that player, whether it was their turn or not, will receive the settlement that it's on. So this is in a mountain, that player will receive 1 ore. If they have enough then, and it's during their turn to build any of the different constructions, then they can then do so. So there's a few ways to build. There's roads, which take a brick and a wood, settlement, which is worth 1 victory point each, and takes a brick, a wood, a wheat, and a sheep, and a city you can upgrade from a settlement and it'll be worth 2 victory points, which only takes 2 wheat and 3 ore. And finally there are development cards, which can be purchased for a sheep, a wheat, and an ore. As players are building throughout the board, they will be building roads onto their existing roads, and they can build settlements, kind of at these crossroads where 3 of these hexagons meet. Now there are a couple rules for this. A road can never go through an opponent's road or settlement. So if I were the red player, I could not build another road here, but I could continue it this way. And whenever I build a settlement, it has to be at least 2 spaces away from any pre-existing settlement. So this right here is perfectly legal. This would not be, because it is too close to both this and this one. So as players are continuing throughout the game, they might be able to build settlements like this, which would score them even more resources. If a 6 was thrown right here, then red player would get 2 ore, because they have 2 of them each. If later on they upgrade one of their settlements to a city, they would also get 2 for that as well. So if a 6 was thrown, they'd be getting 3. 2 for the settlement, 2 for the city, 1 for the settlement. Players are still working at victory points. As the game continues, you can also trade goods. You can always trade 4 of the same type of good for 1 of anything else, if you choose to. But that's not very efficient. It's easier to trade with other players. I might offer the fellow player 2 brick for 2 wheat. If they happen to have more wheat, they might take that trade. It depends up to them. But finally, if you have a settlement on a port, like this one, you can trade 2 of the good that it shows for 1 of something else. In this example, red could trade 2 wheat for 1 of any other good. Or if you had a settlement here on the coast, you could trade 3 of anything for 1 instead of the 4 like regular. The development cards have a lot of different options, like building more roads, building armies, especially with this knight card. When you do this, you steal resources from other players and you keep it in front of you. When a player gets 3 or more of the knight cards in front of them, they then have the largest army and get a bonus 2 victory points, which might actually win them the game depending on how many points they already have. And finally, when a player has 5 or more consecutive road pieces, they will become the owner of the longest road. Another player may take that from this player by building a longer road, not equal, but longer. Now finally in the game, if a 7 is rolled, like the examples shown, 3 things happen. 1, the robber, which starts off in the desert, is moved by that player to any tile that they choose. Secondly, if I was the blue player, I could steal one resource from any players that have settlements on that tile. For this example, I could steal one resource at random from the hand of the red player. And finally, if this number is ever rolled again while the robber is on it, it no longer produces that resource. So the robber is very mean. However, if the red player rolls a 7, they might do the same to me. So that continues. You do not have a hand limit of cards, but if you do have 8 or more cards in your hand and a 7 is thrown, all the players who have 8 or more resources have to discard half of their cards rounded down back to their appropriate piles. So that keeps players from hoarding and supplying with more resources than any other player, because they might have to discard them down later on. Players continue until one player reaches 10 points. The player with the first to reach 10 points is the winner of Settlers of Catan. So that's how you play Settlers of Catan. As we said, it's pretty intimidating at first, but it's really simple to get into. But if you'd like to try it firsthand, come on by Zia Comics in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and you can try this classic.